Eskom has parted ways with its former Chief of Operations Officer, Jan Oberholzer. This is a month into his 2-year contract to oversee the Kusile power station projects and Koeberg nuclear long-term operation. Oberholzer officially retired from his position in April. The Eskom board at the time said it planned to scrap the position of COO upon his departure. But for more on this, we're joined by Eskom interim spokesperson, Daphne Mokwena. Daphne, a good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I think let's talk firstly about when you learned about the departure of the COO of Eskom, Jan Oberholzer, and the reasons for his departure.
Yeah, as we have announced yesterday that Mr. Oberholzer will be leaving Eskom as of the 31st July this year. One of the reasons basically that came to that Eskom had to make that decision to actually part ways with Mr. Oberholzer, as you would know, that when Mr. Baking Numalo, our group executive in generation, when he was appointed on the 14th of April, that's when that decision was already taken that Mr. Oberholzer will actually look after the project in Kusile, the long-term operation project in Kusile, and in Koeberg, and as well as the project in Kusile. As you would know, that we have those 3 units, 1, 2, 3 that are out, and we still needed to commission unit 5 and 6. So it was important at that time, and it was seen necessary for Mr. Oberholzer, just as part of the continuation to have an oversight over those projects. But after we had appointed the group executive of generation, Mr. Baking Numalo, it's now seen that it is no more necessary for Mr. Oberholzer to continue with that fixed term contract, as Mr. Numalo has now found his feet, and he would now continue and take over those projects as he is accountable for the generation operations. So it is actually important that we have one person that actually oversees all the operations under the generation division.
I mean, we are in the middle of an energy crisis, though, in the country, and there's something to be said about Eskom deciding then not to have a COO position. So what happens then to the operational running of the power entity when that position no longer exists?
Look, if you may remember, the position of the COO, I mean, Eskom has in the past years had no, that position was never in Eskom structure up until we had Mr. Oberholzer. So, and we were running obviously through the group executive in the generation was basically the person that would oversee all the operations in generation. So we went back to that particular structure of having the group the group executive in generation overseeing all operations and being the accountable person for the operations in generation. And we confident that, you know, since that structure before Mr. Oberholzer of the CEO was created, we're still going to continue running those operations effectively and efficiently, and obviously achieving the desired outcome in ensuring that we end load shedding and we improve by improving our EAF in that in the generation division.
I mean, are you seeing, though, that there is perhaps a leadership exodus at Eskom? Because, one is easily, seeing the link between the leaving of Andre de Ruyter, the CEO, and then, of course, the spokesperson that we saw, Sikonati Manchanja, and now the COO. Is Eskom facing a leadership exodus?
I would say it is facing leadership exodus, though, people come into an organization and they leave. And I think we still have, the very excellent leadership within Eskom that can continue running, and continue, running with that, with and overseeing the operations of the organization. So unfortunately, when people want or have, come to a point where they want to leave the organization, one cannot stop them. But however, as I said, that we've got an excellent team and with the vast knowledge as well within, the leadership that is within Eskom. And even if we get somebody new in other structures within the organization, I think they will also have to depend on the skills and the knowledge and the wisdom that we actually have within the organization currently. So if you ask me, there's exodus of leadership, with obviously the few that have left. I wouldn't say that we are really at that level, or can define it as an exodus.
I need to step in the interest of time here, and I think it's really almost, I suppose, wrong for us to speak to Eskom without talking about whether or not we're going to have some stability in terms of our power supply in the weeks that come. I mean, where are we right now? We know that the electricity minister spoke to us yesterday. What are we hearing from Eskom directly about where we are with our power capacity?
Yes, as the Minister of Electricity has announced yesterday, we really, obviously last week, we were caught with us having to replenish our reserves, and with the cold weather, we obviously had to hit stage 6, but I think we have recovered now over the weekend. We had about 6 generating units coming back with about 2,800 megawatts that we have brought back, during the weekend. Today, we are expecting about 1,093 megawatts back. And as you would know, that we have pronounced that we are on stage 1. And from morning from 5 o'clock up until 4 o'clock and stage 3. So things are looking good, although I think we just need to say that we are forecasting that between Thursday and Friday, temperatures will be dropping again, but we are prepared for that. Those temperatures that are dropping. But other than that, we also still want to appeal to the public to also reduce demand as we approach the weekend, because of that anticipation of the cold weather. Just to also assist us to have or to maintain the lower stages of load shedding.
So to use electricity sparingly, we've heard that message over and over again from Eskom. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Especially during the evening peak between 5 o'clock and 9 o'clock, because that's where we get to see the capacity going or increasing very high in terms of demand.